Hi, and welcome to the last episode of my digital painting challenge called Regal Creatures. I created this challenge over the month of June 2025 because I was traveling and I couldn't take my oil paints with me. This challenge doesn't mean that I'll become a digital painter or a digital artist, but it was a great experience nonetheless, and honestly I enjoyed doing it more than I thought I would. Digital art, when made by humans, is valuable and powerful in its own way. It can be used for so many things, from illustrations and animations to games and design work, and it allows artists to profit from their skills in various ways that traditional media might not easily allow. Let me talk a bit about the drawings in this batch before I deep dive into the more serious stuff. So among these, there is one that I did early on in the challenge. I worked ahead because I knew I wouldn't have time to draw that day. I'll point it out when we get there, don't worry. And honestly, it really shows in the process that I had no idea what I was doing yet, because digital just isn't my thing. It's not my comfort zone. This batch also includes a few cats and dogs. One of them is my absolute favorite from these, along with a creepy cat you'll see later. I'll let you know which one when we get to it, but probably you'll recognize it anyway. By the end of the challenge, I had already pushed through most of my struggles and the near burnout phase, and weirdly I was kind of looking forward to finishing it. Not because I hated it, but because drawing this much, this consistently was exhausting, especially because digital isn't a medium I'm used to. So I consider myself a traditional artist, and even though I enjoyed this challenge, digital painting reminds me too much of AI and how it is a lost battle against it. I don't consider AI-generated images to be art at all, and whenever someone claims they are an AI artist, I honestly laugh and cry at the same time, because how dare they call themselves an artist when they are literally just typing some words into a prompt box and then letting a program spit something out that mimics the work of real artists. There's absolutely nothing artistic about that process. If I can be that bold, it's completely immoral and disgusting to me. This is exactly why I choose traditional art. I prefer the visible flaws, the tactile effort, the actual brushstrokes that clearly came from a human hand. Even if it's imperfect, even if it's wrong, it's real. I will never create art using AI because to me it's immoral, especially when people try to profit from it. AI learns, or has learned, from the works of real artists over the years without consent. It's not coincidence that so many lawsuits have been filed against AI companies by artists whose work has been used without permission. Maybe AI will bring progress in some areas of life, maybe it already has, but in the realm of art it doesn't belong. Because art is art only when it comes from a human soul. A soul that feels, that aches, that loves, that fears. A soul that expresses. Artists pour their happiness, their trauma, their identity into their work. How can an algorithm do that? How can a machine feel loss, grief, nostalgia, joy? It can't. I value real art, but especially traditional art, because it carries the weight of centuries of history, of hands and hearts and minds. And this is why I paint by hand and why I will continue to do so. I hope that people who feel the same way, who value classical art and traditional painting, will find my channel and support me and support other artists who are still choosing to work with their own hands, with real tools, with patience and actual presence. Because especially in today's world, this AI-saturated, social media distorted, mass-manufactured world, it feels more important than ever to preserve something that's real. I'm not trying to be political or anything like that, I'm just talking about art and what it means to me. I truly believe that once people get over the initial fascination with AI, Once the novelty fades, many of them will be drawn back to what's real, to what's classical and human and imperfect and full of emotion. I know that for companies it's cheaper and faster to buy a license for some AI tool than to pay an artist, but that's not the point. The point is preserving what's valuable. The things that should be cherished, the things that can live on long after we're gone. Art has the power to change people's lives, to leave a mark on their hearts just by being looked at. Imagine giving someone so much feeling with a few brush strokes. Imagine someone remembering your painting days, weeks, or even years after they saw it. Imagine inspiring someone to start creating themselves just because they saw your work. That's the power of art, and that's why artists are essential. Imagine a world without it. Book covers would be just blank paper with some words written in some basic ugly typeface, hopefully not Comic Sans. You get the point. And even fonts are designed by artists. Movies wouldn't exist. No posters, no costumes, no set designs, no visual storytelling. Art isn't just painting. It's literature, it's script writing, it's cinematography, it's directing, acting, music, sound design, animation, game development. It's everywhere. So I really don't understand why people still look down on artists or treat them like we're expendable. And if artists are starving, then maybe society should ask itself why it's allowed to happen. Maybe the problem isn't with us, but with a culture that exploits and undervalues the very people who create the things everyone enjoys. It kind of feels like being an artist is also being a fighter. You have to fight to be seen, to be respected, to be paid. You have to fight to believe in yourself, especially when no one else does. And now, you even have to fight against AI. And honestly, when it comes to AI, it feels like a fight we've already lost. But still, I stay with traditional painting. Because no matter how fast AI improves, it can't replace my brush strokes. It can't steal the way I mix colors, I feel about while painting, or the moments when I mess up and then fix it. Only I can do that. I can pick up the brush, dip it in paint, and put it on canvas. Even if it sucks, even if I have to repaint it 5 times, it's still better than anything AI could ever do, because it's real. This is also something no one tells you about becoming an artist, how vulnerable it is. How hard it is to keep going when you feel invisible. How much inner work you have to do just to see yourself as worthy. And I think that if you want to be an artist, not just someone who paints, but someone who lives as an artist, you really, really have to work on finding your voice. Your true voice. The one that's buried under what your teacher said, what your family said, what the algorithm wants. You have to find the thing that makes you feel alive when you paint. And you can't care about what your mom or your best friend or your classmates or your future gallery visitors might think. If you are doing commissions, sure, then it's about the client. But if you're doing your art, the kind of art that's meant to stay in the world after you're gone, then it has to come from you and only you. And I don't just mean your visual style or your technique. I mean your themes, your obsessions, your inspirations. What are you drawn to? What gives you chills? What are you secretly fascinated by but scared to admit? For me, it was hard to figure out, and to be honest, I'm still not sure I've fully found it. I know these pieces from the digital challenge aren't it, except for a few that sparked something in me. But all the others helped me get closer to it anyway. And what I found is terrifying to admit out loud. I know people will think I'm weird or even gross, but I love creepy things. I love horror. I love unsettling imagery, blood, gore, shadows, death, tension. And I also love classical art, beauty, elegance, tradition. And I want to merge those things. I want to paint something that looks disturbing at first glance, and then slowly, if you keep looking, it reveals its beauty. I want someone to look at my paintings and think, ew, how beautiful. That's the effect I want. It's the contradiction I love. So if you want to be an artist, I'd say your first job is to search for what inspires you like that. What makes your heart race? What makes you want to run to your sketchbook at 2 a.m. and start creating? Because that's how you know it's real. That feeling like no one can stop you from making this. Getting here took years. I tried all kinds of things. Flowers, landscapes, pets, still life, monochrome work. I enjoyed most of them, but none of them felt like something I could dedicate my life to. And maybe that's just me, but the reason it took me so long is because I always followed the rules, always tried to be the good girl, and that left a mark on me. I became a people pleaser who didn't even know who I was. So for me, the real artistic journey started with figuring out who I am and accepting that. And I'm still working on it. It's scary as fuck. It's not a clean or easy process, but it's necessary if you want to live freely and without compromise. And for me, becoming the artist I want to be is part of setting myself free. Letting myself be who I am and paint what I actually want. When you've lived your whole life in a cage, freedom is terrifying. And often I still find myself going back to that cage because it's comfortable and familiar. But for the sake of my art, for the sake of my truth, I'm willing to leave it. I'm willing to be brave, and I'm done compromising on who I am and what I like. So I'd say all of this entire mindset is the first step, the mental work. Then comes the skill, learning your medium, studying the craft. You can do them simultaneously, of course, but you need both. One without the other won't take you very far. To create meaningful art, you need to know yourself, and then you need to practice relentlessly and not give a crap about what anyone else says. Drawing is the foundation, especially if you want to be a figurative painter. And I think that's why so many people do abstract now. Well, first because it's trendy, and because they don't have the will or patience to really sit down and learn to draw. It's easier to throw some paint on canvas and say it's meaningful. And that can be valid if that's your calling. I'm not saying it isn't. But to me, figure painting, capturing emotion through the form, that's the craftsmanship. That's real skill. So draw from life, put in your favorite movie and draw your favorite scene. Draw yourself, draw everything. You don't need anything fancy, just a pencil and paper, or if you want to go digital, a tablet works too. But you don't need to go to art school. I did. It helped because I was forced to draw a lot, but you can push yourself at home too if you're disciplined. And one of the best ways to improve is to copy others. I'm not talking about stealing, I'm talking about studying. Look at the old masters or artists that you admire. Look at how they worked. Their sketches, their process, their layering, their brush handling. Study them. Try it. Copy it. Experiment with it. That's how you build skill. Because skill matters more than talent. Talent is luck. It's something you are born with or not. Skill is effort. It doesn't need talent. And I get so frustrated when people tell me, I'm so talented, as if it was something I didn't work for. Being skilled is the real compliment. So just practice. Learn from the artists you admire. Try new things like me with this challenge. Allow yourself to discover something unexpected. What you think you want now might not be it at all. And again, don't think about what others will say. Just focus on you and the art. That's all that matters. The people who resonate with your work, they will find you. So that's it. That's the end of this challenge and the end of my little digital detour. From this point on, I'll be going back to traditional painting fully. Oil, charcoal, pencil, real surfaces, real textures, real mass. If I travel again and can't bring my tools, I might do some digital again, but only then. Because my heart, my soul, my entire creative identity live in the traditional medium. That's where I feel most like myself. But even though this wasn't my usual process, I learned a lot about myself, about discipline, about pushing through resistance, and about what I truly want from my art. This challenge helped me solidify what direction I want to take, what kind of painter I want to become, and what kind of art I want to put into the world. I've talked a lot in this video, more than usual, not just about the challenge and digital art, but also about AI, about staying true to your values, about fighting for what matters, about the courage it takes to be an artist, and about finding your voice when it's buried under years of expectations and fear. I've shared what inspires me, what scares me, what I love, and what I want to create. If any of that resonated with you, if you are on a similar journey, if you're just starting out, or if you're feeling lost, I want you to know that you're not alone. If you want to come along with me on this art journey, I'm more than happy to have you here. I'll share what I learn as I go, and if I can help even one person to get better, more confident, or more connected to their own creativity, then it's worth it. Because we need more real artists. We need more people who create from the soul. And if that's you, if you feel that fire too, then let's go. Let's do it together. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.